Welcome traders, this is Dr. Keith and welcome to seasonaltraderpro.com. Thank you so much for attending. Today I'm going to be talking about seasonal trading. For many of you, you've heard of it. For some of you, maybe you have not. But today I'm going to show you some incredible statistics, some of the probabilities of some of these trades that happen week in and week out throughout the year are absolutely incredible. I think you'll be extremely excited about it, okay? So before we get started though, you have to read the risk disclosure, right? It's very important, so take a minute, read it. If you ever have any questions, please reach out to me. But what it's really basically telling you in so many words is that if you can't, you don't want to ever use money that you can't afford to lose when you're trading, okay? As long as you play by that rule, you should be in really good shape, okay? If you're using money, typically that you would need to pay your mortgage, for example, or pay your rent. Okay, your mentality getting in and out of trades is going to be a little bit different, okay? It's tough when you have to make a living. So please be careful. Reach out to your financial advisor if you have any questions. Okay, so first of all, I think it's very important to kind of give you my background. So I've got my PhD in finance, and basically since 2006, in fact, as a professor since 2004, I've been a trader and a professor. And in all honesty, it really started out where when I completed my PhD in finance, I really enjoyed teaching, okay, specifically finance and trading. And the cool thing about universities is part of your job as a university professor is not just to teach, but it's also to do research on your topics. So over the years, I've been extremely fortunate where I get paid to learn how to trade. I get paid to do research on different types of strategies, right? So imagine that all day long, other than when I'm teaching classes, this is what I've been able to do, okay? And it's something I really enjoy, right? You all know that. Those of you that have been trading for a while especially, right? I mean, there's nothing better than trading, is there? There's unlimited potential. As long as you have good risk management, money management skills, right? You can do really well for yourself. There's no ceiling. But what happened is around 2010, I started learning about seasonality. I read an article, and it's an article I'll never forget, on some of these high probability setups. So imagine this, folks. Let's say back in 2010, your broker calls you up and then it says, hey, Dr. Keith, over the last 20 years, this particular stock or Forex or futures went up 19 out of 20 years during the month of August. I'm getting a trigger now. You know, let's say we're on August 1st or August 2nd. It doesn't matter, right? Just for this example. Do you want to get in? Right? So back when the brokers used to call you up with these trade ideas, right? If somebody called you up and told you that, you'd be all in, wouldn't you? And then you tell your wife or husband or girlfriend or boyfriend, you would tell them, I've got this great trade coming up. I'm getting in, and it's worked 19 out of 20 years, right? Well, folks, that's exactly how I trade. All of my trades have a huge seasonal advantage in them, okay? That's why I've been able to have a success rate of over 80% over the last 7 years, okay? Much higher in most years because I wait for these trades. And there's plenty of them every week, most of the time, okay? So again, my specialty is trading seasonality. Greater than 80% of probability, and I like to use The more data, the better. But I also like to use more recent data because that means a lot as well on a particular underline. So I swing trade seasonals from the daily chart and have set profit and risk parameters determined prior to my trade, okay? Especially for you new traders, I know you get excited about a trade, but you can't forget about risk management. Okay, you always have to have a plan when you're doing your trading. It's always easy to look at a chart and say, oh, well, this is when I should have gotten out, right? I mean, after the fact, that's always easy. But you need to have a plan once you get into that trade. And on a personal note, I live in Bend, Oregon with my family. I've got 3 kids, beautiful wife, horses on our property. I mean, we're living the life, folks. We really are. And the reason I tell you that is because you can all have it. Okay, trading is about lifestyle choices. Okay, as much as I love trading, I want to develop a system or systems that I don't have to be in front of the computer all day. Certainly I can, right? I can do research and spend all day on the computer, but I don't want to have to. Okay, I like to spend time when my kids are in school, for example. My wife and I like to take our horses trail riding. Or when the school's over in the afternoon, right? I like to take my son to wrestling and my daughters to dance and so forth. So, you know, we all have lifestyle choices. It's just a matter of executing. And just recently, I'm now president and CEO of www.seasonaltraderpro.com. Check it out. I'll explain more about that later. All right, so for today's agenda, folks, we're going to focus on seasonality and what it is. And then how do I use seasonality in my trading of all markets? Because again, I don't just trade options. I don't just trade futures, and I don't just trade forex. You can, but seasonality works on all 3 markets, folks. I'm going to bring examples to show you. And again, all these examples work year in and year out over 80% of the time. So if you don't get anything else out of this webinar, folks, what you are going to get is some high probability trades each year. Okay, so they're my free gift to you all. The goal of today is really to show you the power of seasonal moves and get you excited about seasonality, okay? I mean, that's why I now launched my business, seasonaltraderpro.com. Everything's going to be based off of seasonality, okay? And then I'm going to give you some special offers, some really special offers at the end. But again, my main goal is to get you excited about seasonality. And anybody that tells you seasonality doesn't work, okay, they're really not paying attention, folks. Nothing works all the time. But I'm going to show you some pretty cool techniques as well to know whether or not a seasonal has a higher likelihood of working this particular year. So as you're reflecting, though, it's really important to understand, first of all, what type of trader are you? Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader? Or do you trade both type of styles, okay? Again, the cool thing about using seasonal trading, again, most of my trading is based off of swing trading, off daily charts, holding positions, okay? But you can use seasonality in your day trading techniques as well, and we'll talk about that. So what is seasonality? Basically, it's any predictable change or pattern in a time series that recurs or repeats year over year, okay? And they happen for a number of reasons, folks. But you know what the number one reason is? Again, I've done a lot of research on this. I've talked to a lot of hedge funds. Think about it when you get up in the morning. You get up, a lot of you will take showers, brush your teeth, get some coffee. Why is that? Because that's what you do, right? Well, folks, money managers, hedge funds, commercials, they all have predictable patterns. And they have master lists, for example. Let's just talk about Apple computers, okay? They know going into January, and we'll talk about this later, but they know going into January, they're going to buy Apple stock. Why? Because that's what they do. And you'll be able to see this in my indicator as well. So it's some really cool reasons why folks use seasonality. But what you need to understand is it's real, it works, and that the folks that move the markets, the hedge funds and so forth, the big traders, right, they have predictable patterns. So as I just mentioned, why is that? Because once consumers, producers, traders, and the like fall in a particular pattern, they tend to rely on it and become dependent on it, okay? Right? I mean, again, think about your job. This is something you do that makes your job easier every day or every week or every month, right? Of course there is, right? You do certain things that make it easier on you. Well, hedge funds and so forth, they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. That's one reason why seasonality works, okay? So let me just give you an example. And we will get to live charts, and I'm going to show you lots of examples, okay? Again, my purpose of today, I will talk a little bit about my actual entry techniques in that, but my main purpose of today is to get you excited about seasonality, okay? So in bonds, okay, whether that's the ETF like TLT, whether it's the futures, okay, we're talking about bonds now. And basically what this slide is telling you that bonds typically head higher in August, okay? In fact, 33 out of the last 41 years, it was higher from the beginning of August to the end. Okay, so from the beginning to end, it closed higher. So think about that. Just knowing that, a couple things would, logically, I would say to myself. One, if I am looking to trade bonds, again, whether it's the options or the futures, why in the hell would I want to short this? It doesn't mean you couldn't make money on the short side, but if you have a 33 year out of the last 41 years, bonds has been higher in August, don't you think you have a better probability of making money on the long side? And again, I have specific techniques to wait for the entries, folks, and I'll show you some, okay? But just knowing that, you should put that on your calendar for August for this coming up year. Look for long plays on bonds, okay? And again, I will go in as early as 1 to 2 weeks early on some of these seasonals, okay? Once I get my trigger. Okay, so right here, this year, this is this current year, I use my actual triggers off the daily chart, see the daily, and I have my modified Laguerre RSI right here. This is my favorite trigger. And I use the Bollinger Bands. Okay, very simple system. But knowing that bonds head higher in August most of the time, I wait for the actual trigger, and that's when this blue line goes back out of the green right here. Okay, so right here. It consolidated for a few days this year, and then basically once we almost got to August 1st, we made the move up. Okay, so that's what happened this year. And what you can do is go to your screen, your own screen on bonds, use any Stoke or any oscillator, I should say, that you like, and compare the entries and see, okay, when would I have entered, knowing that data ahead of time. Now, granted, I have a seasonal indicator that's going to help you here as well. We'll show later. But I'm just trying to show you this is not rocket science, okay? my particular Laguerre RSI here, my modified Laguerre RSI, is something I have spent hundreds of hours making sure that this is, for me right now, is the best trigger. Okay, but any trigger is going to work pretty well anyway when you know these seasonal probabilities. Okay. All right, so how do I do it? I do have defined rules. So I am not a touchy-feely trader. Okay. And traders that are typically aren't real traders. Because what I need to know for one thing, I need to be able to back test something. I need to be able to look back at a chart. I can bring up any stock, any Forex, any ETF. I'll be able to know the strong seasonals throughout the year based off of my indicator. Okay. And then I can use my modified Laguerre as my trigger. Okay. But if I don't have specific rules, how can I test to see if something? Well, I think I would have went in here. No, that's not going to work, folks. Okay. So don't waste your money on anything or anyone that doesn't have defined rules for you. But I have my custom seasonal indicator I'm going to show you later. Okay, and I use my seasonal off a weekly chart. And this is something over the last few years I've adjusted and increased my probability win rate even higher now. Seasonals work better off a weekly chart. Okay, I still use my triggers, my entries off a daily, but I like to look at the seasonals off the weekly because when you're comparing weeks, they match up much better than days from a seasonal perspective, right? There's 52 weeks in the year. There's every year in January, there's the first week in January, for example. Okay, so they line much better. I also have custom script to use these setups and locate them. As I mentioned, my modified Laguerre RSI is my trigger. And then I have a bunch of data mining, kind of like I was showing you with the bonds there, that gives me that edge as well, knowing that something has a huge advantage to go in a certain direction during a certain time frame. Okay. Another concept that I learned throughout the years of research is that, if a seasonal trade didn't work out, I analyzed it, right? You should always analyze your wins and your losses, right? But specifically, I like to analyze any losses. And what I call seasonal pattern mirror is this. When a trade didn't work out, I would notice that, it wasn't following its historical seasonal pattern that year in most cases, okay? Why is that? Well, there's probably some news behind it, but it doesn't matter. My indicator will show you whether or not it is following that typical seasonal pattern. I default everything to 10 years back, okay? But the indicator, you can change it to 5 to 20 to 30, whatever you want. I have found 10 years being the most effective. Okay? So if it wasn't following a seasonal pattern, the likelihood is going to work in a seasonal environment for that stock, Forex, or future is lower. Okay, so I get questions all the time. Well, Dr. Keith, does the seasonal trading work when the market's volatile? Okay. Well, yes, as long as that particular underline you're looking at has been following its typical seasonal pattern. Okay. You don't have to spend hours reading the news. The indicator tells you if there's been news on that. Okay. For example, I haven't traded Boeing this year because there's been a lot of news, right? But again, if you look at the chart of Boeing and then you look at if it's been following its seasonal pattern, it hasn't. Okay. So I stay out. I go to the next trade. So again, all my trades have a probability of being profitable at least 80% of the time. Okay, but again, usually much higher using this trading system I'm showing you. And if you're a day trader, how can this help you? Well, again, let me just go back to the bonds example. Okay, if you know in August there's a huge opportunity to make money on the long side, and let's say you trade off a 5 or 15-minute chart. Right? You wait for your triggers on the long side, you skip the short. And you can turn a lot of day trades into swing trades if you want. Okay, you can get some good entries, and then it makes its move, and you can, keep moving your stop up. So you absolutely, as a day trader, what a lot of day traders have been doing is buying my data mining package that shows you some key date setups as well. That way, during that, let's say there's 4 or 5 stocks they like to trade throughout the year, they can get all this great seasonal patterns and do their day trading with that. Okay. So I'm going to show you first on just some PowerPoint slides some of my favorite trades. And again, you can take notes on this. This is free trades that I'm giving you that have worked almost every year, year over year. Okay. And then we'll get into live charts. Okay, so natural gas. And again, natural gas, this is the futures right here, but you could also trade it with the UNG, right? There's ETFs for almost every future market. There's an ETF as well, okay? I'm going to show Forex futures and stocks here today because it works for all markets. So June through mid-August, natural gas goes higher 93% of the time. So again, just think about that. If you know this, that natural gas tends to go lower somewhere in June through mid-August, okay? So you're looking at the chart here. Right here is 517 right here, okay? So we're in mid-May. All of a sudden, right here where the blue comes back into the red, okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. I just want to get you excited about seasonality. But where this red line is, this was my trigger short, okay? I will go in a couple weeks early on a seasonal. It went sideways for, 3 or 4 days, and then it made its move. But my point to this is exactly what I told you at the beginning, right? This should be no surprise. This has happened 93% of the time. And then the beauty about seasonals is there's not always just one entry. You can get multiple entries. Here is my second entry then to go short again. Had another short trigger within that seasonal window, and we made money twice this year on natural gas. Okay. Again, 93% probabilities that was going to happen, folks. All right, heating oil. 88% accuracy, mid-March through April. Okay, so mid-March through April. You go long heating oil. 35 out of the last 40 years, it's gone higher. Okay, imagine that. 35 out of 40 years. So again, once I start getting close to March, mid-March here, I wait for my trigger, happened right here, where again, the blue line, the Laguerre, close it above the green line. Very simple technique, right? But very powerful. And there you go. There you go. Full disclosure, a few years ago, when I found these key dates as I was doing my back testing and the research, I would literally just go long on the key dates. But then I realized I was taking too much heat on many of them, even if they worked out, okay? So that's when I found different oscillators. And then for the last couple of years, I've been using my modified Laguerre, which works fantastic. Because what it does is you typically will not see the Laguerre oscillator get in at a top or the bottom because it's not doing that by design. You have less false signals, okay? It's usually a day or two lag on purpose. But then because of that, you get very few false signals, okay? And it's not about making the entire move, right? It's about getting the meat of the move, right? You don't need to get the entire move to make, lots of money on these trades. All right, crude oil. So again, I know a lot of you trade crude oil. Excuse me. So long, March through April, 84% accuracy. Okay? So once we get close in March, we wait for the trigger. Here we had a Laguerre curve right here, and there you go. Okay, 84% accuracy. And again, where can this help you? If you know this, and now you do, that mid-March through April, crude heads higher. In fact, 30 out of the last 36 years, okay? If you know that, why would you want to short crude during that time frame? So if you just use that to stay out of the wrong direction, you're going to be a much happier trader, right? All right, we talked about the TLT earlier, the bonds, right? This is bond ETF, you know, or the ZB and Thinkorswim for the futures, or you could do the ZN, the 10-year, and so forth, okay? In August, 15 out of the last 15 years it went higher, and I showed this trade already. But again, folks, if you know this, you wait for your triggers. Does that mean you're going to always win? Well, if you did it in the last 15 years, yes, but typically no, right? But if you wait for the triggers, because what happens is if I don't get a trigger during this window, I don't take the trade. So you're increasing your odds even more by having a good solid trigger like the modified RSI, okay? Make sense? All right, Australian dollar. Okay, this is the Australian dollar on the futures. But again, you could trade the Aussie US dollar on the Forex. You could trade an Aussie dollar ETF. You can make money in these any way you like, okay? So Australian dollar short, July through August with 91% accuracy, okay? So 91% accuracy, short the Aussie dollar, July into August. So again, I didn't just short it right here on July 1st, right? No, I didn't have a trigger. I didn't have a trigger, okay? So I had a short right here, and I had a short right here. Right here and right here, okay? You should know with 91% accuracy, though, from July to August, this is heading lower. So as I said, you get multiple triggers in many cases on these seasonals, folks. And yeah, these are all this year trades. Gold, one of my favorites to trade. We're going to talk more about December long on gold. 34 out of the last 40 years has gone higher, okay? And sometimes it triggers early. So starting in mid-November, I keep an eye on gold with triggers. So anyway, right here we had a trigger. And what I love about this gold trade is that you can hold it, especially if you're doing, this is a GLD ETF. You can hold it for 3 months usually to make money on it, okay? There are many instances, you know, probably on the option side of it, I like to do probably 90% of my trades on the option side are debit spreads, okay? Because they increase your odds even more. And I go about 3 weeks out on these, okay? But the other 5 to 10% of trades, I will do straight calls or straight puts because of these type of seasonals. There's more knowing that I can make a lot more money to the upside Okay, so I do my consistent income generation on these debit spreads, getting 50% profits and getting out. Okay, usually I'm out within a week or so. But then I go for these home runs based on some of these highest probabilities. Okay, and I teach that in the mentorship. Keep an eye on gold. We're getting there, right? End of October here. Once we get into mid-November, keep an eye on it. All right, FedEx. 30 out of the last 40 years, folks. In January, quarter one, January, February, March, FedEx has gone higher. So this year, we got a trigger right after Christmas, right here. We got a trigger long, and there it went. Okay? So again, you're like, well, Dr. Keith, that looks simple. I'm a professor by nature, right? I need people to understand things and keep it simple. My own trading is simple. Because if you have 13 indicators on your screen, and I can say that because at one point I probably did, okay, you're always going to be overthinking it, or you're never going to get entries, okay? Let the power of the seasonal do the real work. Lows, quarter one as well. So you can pay for all your Christmas presents, right? 91% accuracy, 31 out of the last 34 years. It's gone higher. So again, this was right after Christmas. We got in based off the trigger. Wham! Made our money. And yes, I get out before earnings, okay? But again, lulls. Your broker calls you up back 10 years ago and says, hey, Dr. Keith, I got this stock that's gone up in quarter one, 31 out of 34 years. I've got a trigger. Do you want in? Right? You're going to beg them to get in. Well, folks, this is all data that I'm giving you. So use it. All right, let's look at some short trades. My data mining for bears, by the way, which you'll see on the website, has over 1,000 throughout the year short plays, okay? So those of you that are bearish, you definitely want the data mining for bears. But anyway, so this is Kohl's, KSS. 83% accuracy, short May. So this is this year, okay? Got our trigger right here, right here. Again, I'm just waiting. And I have custom scripts and scans that, you know, will run these for me. I don't have to sit there and look up every stock, folks, okay? And I'll show you that. But here I'm just trying to prove points with seasonals, right? If you know you have an 83% chance that Kohl's is going lower in May, when you get those triggers, take them. Look at that beautiful move this year on Kohl's. Macy's, 84% accuracy, short December, okay? So again, just waiting. We had a trigger right here, and of course, 84% of the time it's going to go lower, okay? I'll take those odds. And it's higher. Remember, this 84% is off of December, from the beginning of December till the end, okay? That's how I run my back testing. So 84% is going to be even higher, usually 5 to 10% when you wait for an actual trigger like here, okay? So I want to make sure that's clear. These are high probability trades, folks. All right, so can this work for Forex? Of course it can. British pound yen, May, short with 87% accuracy. So once you get to May, give a 2-week window before May as well, middle of April. You get a trigger, wham. We got one right here. Look at that beautiful move down, okay? And by the way, when seasonals are triggers in the direction of the overall trend, like in this case, this downtrend right here, right? We double topped here and then we started down. These are when you can get the really big moves, okay? But we knew with 80%, 7% certainty, British pound yen goes short in May. So again, you Forex traders, take a look at that. Look back on your charts for other years and look for it in 2020. Okay, ooh, 1 second. Yep, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to show some live charts here in a minute, but you know, I've designed my seasonal indicator to look like this. So let me just briefly explain it, okay? So what I have here is the red and green line right here is current price. This is off of the weekly chart, my seasonal, okay? So this is what price is doing up to this point in time right here, okay? And then this dotted line, and this is off of a 10-year by default. You can change that in any setting you want. You can go to 15 years, 5 years, 30. 10 years has been the most effective for me, but you can go back. And because the way I have it programmed, the more recent of the 10 years will count a little bit more as well, okay? But anyway, so this is telling you this is Apple, okay? This is telling you now that this is the end right here, 2019, okay? So this is telling you between the last quarter of the year, basically, there's no real seasonal advantage on Apple, right? It's flat. But once we get to January, look out, right? That's what this can tell you on anything you bring up that has at least, you know, 10 years of data or 5 years if you're looking at a seasonal 5 years, okay? And then what this white line, the solid white line, is what I call the lag line. Remember I was talking about that mirroring, the seasonal mirroring, okay? Well, this line is going to equal this line once you get to the current date. But the lag line is this. This is showing you the 10-year seasonal on Apple. And then this is showing you what Apple actually, let me change the color. This is showing you what Apple actually did during that. So you can see during this time frame, Apple's actually reasonably matching well to what it should be. What I look for is, let's say this was the real price. Let's say Apple was much lower than the seasonal, okay? Then I would not take this trade coming up because it's not acting normal. I would go to a different underlying, okay? But since it is matching pretty nice, more than likely, folks, if you go long in January on Apple, we're going to make money, okay? So that's what this indicator allows you to do. And this is my workspace. So I brought up just something, this is RBOB, okay? Basically what I have here, remember, my actual trigger's off the daily, right? My actual trigger's off the daily. My seasonal indicator's off the weekly. So I just split my screen like this, okay? And I have custom scripts that you can run scans and look at this, okay? And what I look for is if I get a trigger long, like right here, then I look at the match, is it matching a good seasonal? So in this case, why would I want to go long on here? Okay, even though I'm getting triggers on the modified, the gear RSI, when the seasonal until the end of the year has a highly likelihood to the downside, right? So I would skip this. What I would do is wait for this to go like this. Head up, come back down. Hopefully price does come up, head back down, and give me a better entry short, okay? But if this was January and I got this trigger, I'd be all over it. Does that make sense? Okay? So that's how you can use the seasonal indicator to keep you out of bad trades and then see when some of these high probability trades are coming. Again, look at the RBOB in January, folks. Beautiful looking longs, right? Again, just another free opportunity I'm giving you here. Okay, so here's one of the custom scripts I was telling you about. And what this basically does is it's off the daily chart. Let me change that color again now. Okay, so it's off the daily chart. And it can be anything you want on your watch list. It can be all stocks, futures, options, your customized one. What it's going to do is it's going to show you whether we're getting longs or short triggers off the Laguerre RSI, and then you can match it to the seasonal chart, okay? And all these neutrals there's just no triggers right now, okay? So it's a fascinating technology that allows you to do your research very, very quickly throughout the day, okay? I typically do my research in the evening for an hour, and that's all three markets, okay? All right, so let me bring over my charts now and give you some examples here. Okay, so SPX. You can see here on SPX, look at, first of all, let me expand this and show you the seasonal indicator, okay? So remember, this is up to current price right here, okay? So from a seasonal perspective, middle of June, we get another move up on the SPX, okay? And then middle of August, we get another move up. Then we get these little retracements, and then look at October. So that's where, you know, even though I know you all were reading the news in October, where the market's going down, it's crashing, right? And we hit all-time highs yesterday, okay? That should not be surprising, folks, okay? If you know this type of probabilities, it should not be surprising, okay? Okay, so what I wanted to show you was just recently, though, so we had a trigger long, which was matching the weekly seasonal, right? That's very important. In fact, essential for me. So right here, nice move up to all-time highs, okay? Again, this is just recent, okay? So you can see when it matches to the seasonal, you wait for the trigger, fantastic opportunity, okay? And I also have a modified stochastic that's more aggressive. If I want to get aggressive, we won't talk about that today. I'll just kind of hide that for you. But again, this is exactly how I trade, folks. Okay, TLT. Let's bring that up in the live chart. So again, I just want to bring up the seasonal here to show you. So again, the cool thing is anything you bring up, as long as it's been around long enough for a seasonal, it's going to show you, right? And let me adjust this just a little bit here for you. Okay, so as I mentioned, right here is current price, right here where the red stops. When we get into the blue here, this is the forecast. So do you see any real advantage on bonds? We had a nice short here, okay? And that's when I took this one right here. Should have been no surprise. It was matching the seasonal. We took it, made good money on TLT, okay? But now, what I wanted to show you, this chart was for, now if I'm out of this trade, and I exited it here at basically 138, okay? But anyway, look at this. Now we're really going sideways the rest of the year, okay? So I am not trading bonds the rest of the year now. I'll go to something else. Okay, that's the beauty of this indicator. But look at when we get into March. Look at March. See how it heads higher? See that? So this is March right here. So what you should be looking at and putting on your list is when you get another trigger going into March or a couple weeks early, you got high probability of making money on bonds to the long side, okay? That's the incredible thing about this indicator. And you have so many different instruments you can trade, right? You can wait for just these highest probability trades. When you get a trigger, it's matching the seasonal, you can take it. All right, Broadcom, one of my favorites coming up. I mean, look at this seasonal, folks. Again, let me expand this for you. Look at this seasonal move coming up in Broadcom. Is that incredible or what? Okay, so again, we're right here right now. So going in here, look at this until March. This beautiful seasonal pattern to the upside. So again, why in the hell would you want to short Broadcom right now, right? So if that's the biggest takeaway of today, to help you stay out of losing trades, why would you want to short that? The indicator tells you you want to go long. You want to go long, okay? So hopefully you can see the power. And what I'm showing you, this is my system of trading, folks, okay? All right, let's talk about some Forex here. US dollar, Mexican peso. Like peso? Really, Dr. Wade? Oh yeah, one of my favorites to trade in the Forex market or futures. So look at this. So we had, remember, this is the lag showing you what it should be doing. And basically we're right here right now waiting for a potential trigger long, okay? But look at this. When we get into the middle of December here, look at the short opportunity coming up on the US dollar Mexican peso, okay? Again, the power of that, knowing that probability is amazing, right? Then when you get to April, it goes the other direction. Okay? So let me just go back real quick to April. Right? We're going to go long in April, somewhere around April. Let me just move back here on the screen and let's see if we would have had an entry or when we would have had an entry, okay? So again, this is April 22nd right here. This is when I got the trigger right here. Boom. Okay? High probability, over 90%, you're going to make money on that trade, especially when you wait for the trigger. Okay? I mean, this is a great bottom, right? Sideways action, just a little bit of a low here. That's a great long play, but I didn't go in because of that. I went in, I waited for my trigger. Okay? And that's how I trade in the alert services too. So those of you that just want the alert service, be given the trade opportunities, this is still important to show you how I'm doing this, okay? All right, let's look at the euro yen. Okay, so the euro yen. Again, let me just bring over to really highlight for you what I'm looking for. So right here, this is where we're at right now. So typically on the euro yen, we head higher now, almost until mid-December. But then again, it kind of goes sideways, right? But then we have a nice short in April. So again, just knowing that, folks, isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? Think about how you have a higher likelihood of making money knowing that, right? That's why when I do have people in conferences I go to and that kind of brush off seasonality, you know, it's hard for me not to say something because the data doesn't lie, folks. It doesn't lie, okay? I mean, again, knowing that we're in a long right now, getting this trigger, that should have been no surprise. The indicator's telling you, wait for those longs. Okay, I know I get pretty fired up here, but this is just incredible, right? Incredible accuracy. All right, soybeans. Let me bring up soybeans. So again, if you look at the seasonal chart on soybeans, right, you can see here that typically June, we look for shorts. We bottom right around middle of September, though. That's kind of the key, right? We bottom right around September. See that? So I'm looking to go long somewhere in September. So I get my trigger right here on like 9.3, 9.4, right around Labor Day, okay? Have a couple days against me, and then wham, okay? That should be no surprise, though. That's my point to this. The seasonal was telling you very, very high probability it's heading higher, okay? You know how many traders went short here, right? Thinking it's going to continue down? Lots and lots of traders. That's how professionals make their money off of, okay? Again, I've interviewed lots and lots of hedge funds. All right, crude oil. I know a lot of you love to know the seasonal on crude throughout the year, right? So again, let me blow this up for you. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple cool things here. But as you can see, once you get into the start of the year, crude typically heads higher the first couple months, right? Part of February, it heads down, and then it heads higher March into April. Then once you get to April 1st, it heads lower, right? So these are, again, high probability seasonal patterns you can play out, okay? But let me give you an example that just recently happened with crude, okay? So, sorry, let me make that more. So as you can see right here, middle of September through November, we look for shorts on crude. Okay, so right now we've been looking for shorts. Okay, I'm waiting. I haven't gone short yet. Again, I'm waiting. Okay, but we're close to a short probably. But anyway, if you remember right here, this happened a few weeks back when there was some news out, right, with the bombing, some of the oil overseas. So it gapped up. This was over the weekend. So it gapped up from 55 to roughly 62, right? And to me, this was a golden opportunity to make money for a couple of reasons. Okay, I'm only looking for shorts this time of year from a seasonal perspective. So once it gapped up, I also knew that trader sentiment was extreme, especially when the news hit. All the retailer traders then thought, you know, crude was going to $100. So again, you got to think like a professional. You got to think like a commercial trader, like a hedge fund. They all know what us retailers are thinking, right? So of course, crude is going to head lower because of that, okay? Now, I didn't just go short right after the news. I still waited for my trigger, and that's very important. I don't need to get in here. I can get in here and still make plenty of money, okay? But that was an opportunity, you know, the alert service picked this up beautifully. This is just one of those trades, though, when they happen, they're so high probability, folks, that I wish every retailer trader could take them, okay? All right. So what would you like to see? I'm going to give you an option for 3 different types of trades. 1 stock, 1 future, 1 forex, so we can take a look at the seasonal on that, okay? All right, Apple. Everyone likes to look at Apple. Sure. So from a seasonal perspective on Apple, we kind of went through this earlier, right? First of all, late June and July, we look for longs, okay? So let's look at that first. So late June into July, I'm looking for longs. So on June 3rd, right here, had a trigger. Look at that beautiful move up on Apple. Should have been no surprise that the odds are in your favor, okay? So that was the first good seasonal advantage. But now we're consolidating from a seasonal perspective, right? Look at right here. So now what I'm looking for is I'm waiting once we get to January, I'll look to take another long on Apple when I get my trigger. Okay? So that's how quickly you can analyze a situation and look at that. Okay? And again, as I mentioned, I have this custom scan. So let me look at like the watch list of all the futures. And this tells me if something is triggering long or short. And the yellow just means a little bit, it's not closed above 0.2 yet. The green has, okay? And then the short, same thing. You can go down here for the shorts. And you can sort this. So you can only look at the triggers. That way you're filtering out a lot of the noise of things that you don't want to look at, okay? That's the cool thing about that script. And it updates live, okay? All right, so somebody asked British pound yen. Sure, let's take a look at British pound Japanese yen Forex. Okay, so when I'm looking at the seasonal chart, remember, this is where we're at right now as of today, right? So I was looking for longs on British pound yen roughly October. Right around October, I start looking for longs, okay? So let's take a look and see if we would have got a long trigger in October. Okay, so here we go. Right here, roughly October 8th or 9th, something like that. I got a trigger. Look at that beautiful move up, okay? Listen, I can't make this up, folks, right? This is just some beautiful trading. But again, the odds are much higher when you know the opportunity of something going in that direction, okay? Okay, sure, natural gas. Let's take a look at natural gas. All right, so looking at a seasonal chart here of natural gas. Bear with me here. All right, so when we get into December, see, this is the cool thing about the indicator, right? December, we typically top right at the beginning of December, right around there, okay? So we're getting close. In another month, we're probably going to be at our highs from a seasonal perspective. But right in September, I start looking for longs, okay? Right in September. So let's take a look at the daily chart now. You see how easy this is to the system I'm talking. Trading's not easy, right? Trading is not easy, folks. But the system I use is. Okay. So September. I got a trigger. So here's a beautiful example where I didn't just go long September, right? You go in 2 weeks early, you get a trigger here. If you miss that, though, right now you're waiting and you won't get in until 10:14 right here, okay? So you have 2 entries right here to make money on the long side of natural gas, okay? I don't worry about this, okay? I don't take it against the seasonal. That's an opportunity for me to go long again when it gives it to me, okay? All right, I hope you enjoyed that example. All right, so let me actually go back and show you some of my favorites coming up. I know I showed you quite a few. I'll give you 3 more. So PH, Parker Hannifin. Again, these are November, some of my favorite November trades. So again, look at Parker Hannifin. Right around September, look at that nice move up all the way until April, okay? All the way until April. So I'm only looking for longs. This is a phenomenal trigger back here based off of that. But now what I'm waiting for November, I just want to pull back. I want to get another trigger long. So I'll be patient. Will it happen this year? May or may not. But what I wanted to show you this is I'm not just going in at the highs now, folks. Okay? Wait for these pullbacks, and then you can re-enter. Okay? That's a high probability long play coming up, continuing based off the seasonal perspective. All right, let me give you a currency to look at. Euro US dollar. So again, from a pure seasonal standpoint, I mean, look at this. We typically top in October on the Euro US dollar, okay? And basically till the end of the year, we look for shorts. So just knowing, again, your odds are much higher, much higher once you get into October to look for short entries, right? That can itself can keep you out of trouble, right? Do you agree? Look at that beautiful opportunity, okay? Beautiful opportunity there. So that's all I'm doing. Wait for those triggers, okay? Platinum. Again, platinum is another beautiful instrument to trade. Look at the long coming up in December, folks. Right here. We bottom typically middle December, bam, for two to 3 months, right? Incredible. And then in September, we start looking for shorts. So let's look at September this year, see how that would have worked out. Okay, I got a trigger short here on like September 10th. Bam. Okay. Your odds are much higher, much higher when you go in the direction of the seasonal with a nice trigger. Okay. So I think I pretty much nailed that point home to you, didn't I? And again, my favorite trade coming up, not just November, it's more mid-November, December time frame, is gold. And again, let me actually put the GLD ETF for those of you that trade ETFs as well, okay? So again, when you look at gold, folks, once we get the trigger, that's a good 2 to 3 month long play on gold, okay? So that is typically when I will do if I'm doing an option play, I will do a 3 month call on that because it historically moves up really nice, okay? Let's look at last year. So this is where I entered last year, right here, went sideways on GLD a little bit, and then bam, okay? That's what you can expect year over year with triggers. If I don't get a trigger during this time frame, I won't take it. As much as I love to go long gold, you've got to have specific rules, folks, okay? Excellent. Okay, so previous results and so forth. So again, I just recently founded seasonaltraderpro.com. It was founded by me in October, and results will be posted in the members area, you know, on my alert service. I'm talking about the alert services that I have, where I text you the trade opportunities, you know, as I'm placing them. Okay, and then they also come in an email for you. I founded this company though, folks, based on honesty and passion for helping you all meet your goals, because I've been able to. I have a phenomenal life. Okay, I'm very lucky, and I feel like I should be giving back. Okay. In the past, for a year and a half ago, when I did go public, I was an affiliate trader. I had an average win rate of 88%. And again, I've been trading that way for years, just publicly, over the last year and a half with another affiliate. You know, that was my win rate. I can't release those results just based on the agreements I had with that company before we separated, okay? But what I can tell you is that's why we're gonna, you know, I give these 2-week trials for $1 so that you can see the results and see how this can be part of your trading, okay? So I do have a special offer here. You know, basically it's a launch special of my new business here. It's a $1 2-week trial on these services. So if you just want the alerts, okay, let's say, you know, you want some help with your trades, it's $1 to sign up. Okay, and basically I do that to make you put your credit card information in. You're like, well, why? Because if you can't even do that and make that commitment, right, then you're not serious about trading. Okay, so that's why I have a $1 sign up fee. You can always cancel before the 2-week trial is over if you don't like the service for whatever crazy reason there. Okay, but the cool thing is I'm going to have a grandfathered in then for $129 a month. The prices will be going up. You can see to $149 very soon. Or if you want all three, Forex, stocks, and futures trade alerts, you can do it for $299 a month. Okay. So again, you'll see the link in there in the creative that's coming out with this. Okay, so these are the links, but again, you'll see that in the actual email that you're getting here. And then I'm also giving a 50% off right now as my launch special on all non-subscription products. So this is an incredible deal. Okay, this is actually $3,000. So if you want my seasonal indicator, okay, just the indicator, you don't want anything else, you can grab that for $3,000 right now, folks. Okay, phenomenal deal. And this indicator package also comes with the modified RSI and so forth, and my scanner. If you just want the modified RSI, you really like that with the custom scanner, you can get it half off right now. But if you want the one-on-one mentoring that gives you all the indicators that I was showing you, the scripts, everything, and 4 hours one-on-one time with me, okay, you can have that half off right now. Okay. Many of you also have asked, can I publish my data mining as well? So you can see some of these high probability setups. Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, I also have data mining for bears, for bulls. These are stocks right here. Okay. Over 1,000 of each of key dates to look for throughout the year. You can purchase those right now at half off. Also for futures, obviously, and Forex. If you want them all as a bundle, crazy deal right now, half off for $3,000. Okay. Again, this will not last long, folks. This is a lot of blood, sweat research that I am now giving to the public. Okay. Again, these are the links that you'll get in the email that you're getting here. Okay. Now, if you are interested in that mentoring, I'm going to do even another special deal. Okay. You're going to get everything that we talk about in this mentoring package, right? The seasonal indicator, the script, the Laguerre RSI, 4 live sessions with me where I show you how to do it, what I do. Okay. But then I'm also going to give you 6 months of the trade alerts on top of that. Okay. And this is only for the next 48 hours. So 6 months, you get the trade alerts as well, so you can learn from those alerts in your own trading, okay, for half off right now. So this is a phenomenal deal. If you really, really want to get into the seasonal trading and you want to be able to make a living, folks, this is the package for you, okay? This is definitely the package for you. All right, so if you have questions, please contact us. support@seasonaltraderpro.com. You can call us. We have a Facebook page. You can text us. Again, the reason why I created this company, folks, was to help you all be successful in achieving your goals. Hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. Other than that, good luck in your trading, and I look forward to talking to you again all soon. All right, take care, everybody. Bye now.